Like, okay, so we're recording, so that's good. So what we're going to do then is an hour every week. Did you have a look at the contract that I sent you, the agreement that goes through
Yes, I did look at the contract.
the what I've put in there is kind of an outline of the next 12 weeks. So we can kind of move in and out of that as much as you need to, really. It's just there as kind of a structure or a framework so that we've got a point of reference to work to. But um, obviously we can come in and out of that as much as we need to, depending on what you need or what we need to work on or all that kind of stuff. But for this week, I wanted to really focus on purpose, vision, and goals. So we need to have a really clear picture to work with. It's not like this type, like anything that we do is not going to work if if you're not working towards something specifically, or if you've not got a specific goal in mind. If you just if we just take all of they're just concepts and ideas. If you're not working with them, they're just intellect. It's just going to be an intellectual activity. What I really want is for you to actually start to internalize this information and these processes and these ideas so that they become a part of your habitual thinking. Because what everything ultimately boils down to is your reality is a reflection of your thinking. Everything that you experience in your life is a mirror image of what's going on. Everything on the outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside. So if you like what you've got that's good in your life is a reflection of what's going on that's harmonious inside your mind, and what you've got going on that you're not resonant, that you don't welcome so much, or that you're struggling with, is a reflection of that's where we need to kind of remove that as well, and change the thinking in that respect. So we can you can go anywhere that you want to go, and you can be anything that you want to be, and you can do anything that you want to do. That's like it's been written like a thousand times in a thousand ways over the ages, and it really all comes down to how we work with consciousness. We're all creatures of consciousness, and it's how we perceive and how we process and how we work with this that determines what we get, and it's ultimately a result of we get what we ask for, but we don't always ask in the right way. We're not always asking for the right thing, not always asking, or we don't understand like how this is all working. So the next 12 months are really to get you habitually thinking in the right way towards the things that you want. And when you start to do that, and you start to understand how this is all working, and you become conscious of your consciousness, in effect, of like when you start to pay attention to what's going on and start to take small steps towards what it is that you want, then you're going to start to see this manifesting in your reality. And I know you've got some quite big goals as well, and it's like as you sow, so shall you reap. We have to like create this harmonious we have to get in harmony with our own thinking, our own desires, and what our thoughts are, and then we have to take action as well. So it might be at the end of the 12 weeks you haven't seen what you want manifest, but that's not to say that when you plant a seed in the garden, you don't dig it up the next day to see if it's growing. You leave it and you trust and you have faith and belief that it's going to sprout, and it does. And it's the same with this. Once we put these processes into place, and once we get you doing the right things in the right way, then you're going to start to see your life change. And this is something that is not a 12 weeks, thanks, bye, good working with you. It's like once you understand this process, it's something that hopefully when you understand it and you start to experience results from it, it's an evergreen process. You're going to want to use this for the rest of your life, because it's going to help you to create harmony in your life, which is what we're ultimately seeking: harmony, happiness, and fulfillment. So what I really wanted to talk about this week is like purpose, visions, and goals, and getting you really clear. I've got some stuff for you to do and to take away. I've created a Google Drive, so I've got exercises and some stuff for you to listen to and things for you to do during the week, so that when we come back each week, you're moving forward as well. But this week I want to sort of talk about why it's important for you to get really clear, to get really clear on what your purpose is, like to create a vision and to set some really specific goals. So hopefully that's okay with you.
Yeah, and that's something, I've thought about as well as far as my goals and, just having a defined vision of exactly what I'm wanting and how to get there. I feel like that's becoming more clear to me over the last few weeks.
So that's good. So what this is, we're going to work together on this, and it's like by the end of it, I'm hoping that you're going to be really, really clear. That if you're not really, really well, that you've got a clearly defined objective and an outline and a vision, and that you're starting to work towards that and build upon that. So again, it's going to be something that it doesn't end next week, or it doesn't end in 12 weeks, or it doesn't end in a couple of months. It's something that you continue to build upon and build upon and build upon. And as you realize your goals and as you fulfill these desires that you have for yourself and the people around you, then that becomes a platform to build the next level of success upon and the next level of your life upon. And the more that you do this, the more faith and belief that you're going to build and it's going to develop in yourself and in the process. And the more you're going to realize that you are in control of your life and you're in control of like your experience of your reality, and you're going to start to see things really turn in a way that you want them to do, that you want them to happen, be that with your health, your relationships, your finance, your job, any area of your life. Like we're talking about, the program's called You Were Born Rich, and it's based on like Bob Proctor's book You Were Born Rich, which is the program that he used for years and years and years. And in the book he talks about money, but ultimately we're talking about riches being richness of life. It can be money, like money can come to you just as easily as anything else can. Look how difficult was it for you to go from from where you were to a 300% increase in pay rise. It just happened just like that, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, so it's happened once. Now imagine again going for another 300% increase. Why would it not happen again? If that's what you want, and then why would it not happen again and again? The limit the only limit on what we can receive is what we allow to ourselves to receive. We live in an abundant universe. There's no limit to the source of supply. The source of supply is coming from whatever you want to call it. Some people call it God, infinite intelligence, or the source, or however you like internalize that, or you rationalize that, or you deal with that. Like our source of supply is a loving. It's like abundant. It's infinite, and where it's coming from is a place of love. It's like everything that you want is seeking you. It's just allowing that to actually. If it's not in your life right now, it's because there's a wall that's preventing it from getting to you. It's waiting there on the other side of this wall. And the trick is to bring the wall down so that it can come in. And when we learn how to do that,
it's like learning to become one with it, allowing it to do what it wants to do.
Yeah. And there's ways that we can do that. Like I say, it comes down to over the next 12 weeks, we're going to learn how to start thinking in a different way, and how to start looking at the world in a different way, and how to start becoming a creator of our reality rather than being a person who creates their reality rather than having the external environment determine who we are and how we act and how we behave. So first,
I'm having to go up here and get a charger.
Yeah.
So you're good though, so that's why I'm moving around. I'm just getting a charger.
Okay, I'll give you a moment here.
Oh, now just finding a plug in this place. There we go. Take you down for a second. Get up here. All right.
Okay, we're back in again.
Back in.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is purpose. So we're going to go through purpose and goals and vision. And I'm going to talk a bit about, I don't know if you ever heard of Deepak Chopra. He's, well, we're going to talk, he wrote a book called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And the 7th of those laws, he talks about the law of Dharma. And Dharma's a Sanskrit word, and it means, I'll tell you exactly what it means here. It's, it basically means purpose in life. So it says Dharma is a Sanskrit word that means purpose in life. The law of Dharma says that we have taken manifestation in physical form to fulfill a purpose. And according to this law, you have a unique talent and a unique way of expressing that talent. There's something that you can do better than anyone else in the whole world. And for every unique talent and unique expression of that talent, there's also a unique need for the service that talent brings. And it says that expressing your talents to fulfill these needs creates unlimited wealth and abundance. So there's this idea of Dharma, which is this like that everybody like that comes into the world has a purpose for being here. We don't just arrive and then have no meaning, and we go through life and stumble and trip around and then leave. It's like we come here, we're spiritual beings, and we come here with a purpose. And that purpose is to serve humanity. And we all have a unique ability, a unique skill, and a unique talent that nobody else has. And with that talent, there's nobody else that can do that better than we can. And when we actually find that purpose, and we start to express it, and we start to provide it as service to other people, then naturally abundance will come into our lives. So the problem that I see in the world is that we've got to a generation now where people don't really know what their purpose is. They've lost their sense of purpose and their sense of meaning. And then what happens is we end up with, we don't get that fulfillment, which is what we're all ultimately seeking. We want to be fulfilled. And then we turn to alcohol, we turn to drugs, we turn to abusive relationships. All of these things start to manifest because we're not fulfilling the purpose that we were here for. So finding this purpose is really key to finding happiness and finding fulfillment and creating wealth and abundance in your life. So he says that there are 3 components to this law. The first component says we're each here to discover our true self, or our higher spiritual self. Just bear with me here. He says the second component of the law is that we're here to express our unique talents. There's one thing that we can do, and one way of doing it that's better than anyone else on this planet. And the third component is service to humanity. To serve fellow human beings and to ask yourself the question, how can I help? So, I don't know if you've ever heard of Earl Nightingale. He wrote Lead the Field. And he was Bob Proctor's mentor. And this is like one of the most amazing programs that's ever been created. And Earl Nightingale gives us a series of instructions on how to create a successful life. And he says that the income that a person earns is always going to be proportional to three things: the need for what they do, the person's ability to perform that skill, and the difficulty in replacing them. So he says in this that as a human being, everybody is equal. We're all equal as human beings. But in terms of value in the marketplace, we're not equal. So if you work in McDonald's, then you're going to earn $7 an hour, because not because you're worth any less as a human being, but because your value in the marketplace is only worth that. Your skill, if we work on the need for what you do is there, there's really no ability that you don't need much ability to perform the skill, and the difficulty to replace you is not, it is easy. Therefore, your compensation for that service is not going to be very high. If you're a consultant in the medical industry and you do some cutting edge brain surgery where you've spent 10 years studying and becoming an expert in your field, the need for what you do is there, your ability to do it is high, and the difficulty to replace you is really high. So this is why somebody in a field like that can earn the same as somebody in another field in one day as what another person can earn in a year. It's not their value as a human being, it's the value that they bring to humanity or to the marketplace. So with these three things, the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty in replacing you, he says that the only thing that you really need to focus on is your ability to do your job, to provide the service that you provide. If you do that, then you're going to become the best at what you do, and the difficulty of replacing you is going to be very high. And therefore, your compensation is going to be much greater in that respect. If we apply that to what Deepak Chopra is saying here with the law of Dharma, with this purpose, that we're all here to fulfill a unique purpose, and that unique talent or skill or purpose that we have is unique to us, and we can perform that better than anybody else on the planet. And there is a unique need for that service. Then the need for what we do is there. Our ability to do it, we become the best in the world automatically. All we have to do is like find what that purpose is and work on it daily. And the difficulty then in replacing us is going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be impossible. And this is what he says here: when you actually achieve this, then unlimited abundance is going to come your way. The second formula that Nightingale talked about in here is, he says that your income is always going to be directly proportional to the amount of service that you provide. So the reason that you've just taken a 300% pay rise is because the need for what the service that you're providing is more valuable now than what it was before. The need for what you do is much greater than what it was, whatever you were doing before. So if you want, in terms of creating more wealth in your life from a monetary standpoint, you're going to have to create more service. If you want to have another 300% pay rise, then you're going to have to find a way to provide 300% more service than what you're creating now. And when we do this, when we work from this, there's two perspectives that you can look at in terms of generating wealth in your life. One is that from a lack and scarcity perspective, where you can say that there's a limited amount of resources, and that if you have a large portion of those resources, somebody else is going to have to take a smaller portion. When we come from that perspective, then it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward, because somebody's always going to be trying to take what you've got. You're going to have all sorts of moral issues going on with that. But we don't have to look at it in that way, because it's not like that. We live in an abundant universe. We've got a creator that gave us everything. It's like there's no lack of anything. Money is just energy. Everything is just energy. And there's an infinite amount of energy. It's like money is just a token of exchange. The reason you get paid what you do is you do your job, and then they give you money so that you can exchange that for whatever you want in return for your service. So if you want to exponentially earn more money in your life, then the trick is to provide more service. This is the creative way of looking at creating wealth and abundance in your life. If you provide, and we live in a society that is 100% service driven. 100% service driven. Everything that you do, like today, like what as you go through the day, just become aware of it. You know, you make your breakfast and you take your box of cereals. There's like 10, 20, 30 different services involved in creating that box. Then you've got the milk, then you've got the plates, the forks, then you go to the car, and you've got another industry that's creating services to provide that. Then you go to the shops, and everywhere you go, there is service. And as you create more service, you create reward. So this is cause and effect. This is one of the primary laws of creation, is cause and effect. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. If you want more of something in your life, then give of what you want. And if you want more money, provide more service, and it will naturally come. And in that way, society grows, humanity grows, as you provide that service, and you're rewarded proportionally for the service that you provide, which is what this law of Dharma is saying here. You have a unique purpose. When you find that purpose, you have a unique way of serving humanity. And when you serve humanity with that unique purpose, then you're abundantly rewarded for it, because there's a need for what you do. You're the best at doing it, and you're very difficult to replace, and you're providing a huge amount of service. So becoming clear on this, like finding your purpose, is really, really, really important. Finding out what it is, who you are. This is really coming down to who you are as a person, what your values are, what's going to fulfill you, and what's going to make you happy.
And as I found this book that as soon as my debit card gets here, it should be here by Tuesday at the latest.
Yeah.
That I'm going to order, and it starts with the S. I can't say it right, but he's a doctor in California, and he's the world's leading doctor in holistic medication and natural medicine, and it's just natural medicine encyclopedia, 560 pages of things that he's done to help cure people, and what worked, and what helps blood. It's just has a plethora of information there, and for what I want to do. When I just come across this book this week, I was like, that's what I need, instead of going here and there and just trying to get this information from everywhere with what I want to learn, and and what I've been studying and want to know more about. Like, this book will have so much in it. So that's one thing to help me go get where I want to go. I'm really looking forward to getting in the mail is just this book, so I can just dig in there and, just soak up all this knowledge and learn more about the holistic medication.
Because that's where you're going, isn't it? That's ultimately.
That's the main thing. Yes, there's so much more I want to do.
Yeah.
But dealing with holistic medication is the big part of all of it. That's my main thing, that I want to be able to help folks. I want to be able to give back to them. I think it would help so many people that are dealing with addictions and just mentally that's just been broken down and let life beat them up. Just dealing with fitness and the holistic medication, I feel like I could provide a huge service to help others.
What do you want for yourself in terms of, obviously this is, help, like in terms of like creating purpose for yourself in terms of helping others, in creating a business and a way, and in a means of, like me creating a coaching business and helping people to move forward. That I could say, like, outside of that, I've got like how I want to see my life, like playing out, like with my family, with travel, with adventure, with all of this other kind of stuff. What do you want for that? What do you want for yourself?
I definitely want financial freedom. I want to be in a nice house and be able to not worry about, as far as having a job where I could go travel. I want to be able to be home with my kids, go travel and have experiences all over the world, and just learn and teach them about culture and just different places. There's so much beauty in the world. So to be able to travel the world and see all these different places and all that the world has to offer, it was just absolutely amazing. And that's something that, I really want. So, I just want to be able financially to go and do and experience life.
So what does financial freedom mean for you?
Just not having to worry about, do I have enough money to go do this? Am I going to be able to pay this bill? Just to know that I'm living comfortably, that my bills are taken care of, and I have money to put back, which I do now. On my way to where I want to be. Definitely a huge pay increase. At the beginning of starting to be able to save some and do some things to invest in my future. But I don't want to stop here. I want more, and not only want more for me and my family to be able to do more and enjoy, but more that I can give back as well. Because that's what I want to do. I so want to be able to help homeless and give back to other people in society.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing you're going to have to give. You're going to have to give the way that when we work with this process, which comes from here, really. It's like been passed down through thousands and thousands of years. It comes from giving. It's like abundance comes from giving, happiness comes from giving, fulfillment comes from giving. So that's really important, that you know where you are in terms of what it is that you have to give, what it is that you've got inside of you that you have to share with having this purpose and this dharma and these skills that you've got. So and as I say, the more that you share them, the more reward you're going to receive. There's no reason why I would say to people that you're being selfish if you're not being abundantly financially rewarded. If you're doing holistic alternative, if you're teaching people holistic alternative medicine, if you talk about yoga, didn't you? Did you talk to me about the yoga?
Yeah.
Providing all of these things for people. If you're not being abundantly financially rewarded for all of this, it means you're not reaching enough people. And I would say that means you're being selfish. That's how I look at it for myself. I look at my paycheck, which is ultimately dependent on how much effort I put out personally to reach out to people like yourself, offering help to help people move forward. And I would say to myself, if I'm not being abundantly rewarded financially for that, then I'm being selfish, because I have this ability to help people, and it's not happening. It's not happening. So there's no reason why. What we have to do is get you to understand how you can make it happen, and then take those steps in order to make it happen. And that's the key. Is most people don't actually. What we're going to talk about now actually is goals. Is most people don't have a worthy goal. They don't have a big vision to work towards, or if they do have a goal, they don't actually take any action towards it. So we're going to move on to the second part of this, which is goals. And I've created a worksheet for you actually, which I'm going to show you. I'm going to send you a link to it at the end of it. I might show it you shortly on the videos on the screen. I don't know whether it will come up or not, but people are essentially goal-seeking organisms. Like the mind works like works as a goal-seeking mechanism. And this is what we talked about with, like, when I spoke to you initially about the paradigms and the beliefs. And if you don't give your mind a target to aim for and focus on that target and continually focus on that target, then it's going to focus on a target. It's going to focus on a target regardless of whether you specifically program it or whether you use information that's already in there. And for most people, only 5% of people set goals. It's said that it's recorded that only 5% of people set goals.
Oh, wow.
And those 5% achieve more than the other 95% put together. There's no secret to success. It's like goal setters are winners, readers are leaders. People who get ahead in life are readers. And the reason is because all of the knowledge of the ages has been, you can take a book that took someone 25 years to write and you can read it in a week. You can assimilate that knowledge in a week. So readers are leaders and leaders are goal setters. These are some of the key habits that we want to be developing to create success in our life. And if you're not setting goals, then your mind is going to work like the goals that your mind is going to work as a goal-seeking mechanism, and what it's going to work to is the information that's been programmed into the subconscious mind, which we're going to talk about later on in like a couple of weeks' time. And that information is your socio-economic conditioning. It'll be the beliefs that you inherited from your environment, from your parents, from relationships, from some trauma, all sorts of different things. And it'll be buried at a subconscious level and you probably won't be aware of a lot of it. And what that information does is serve to replicate the environment that it came from. So if you're in that 95% and you're just aimlessly working through life, then what's going to happen is your mind's going to look for the events, the circumstances and the situations that's going to support those beliefs, ideas, those rules and values that are programmed in at this deep subconscious level. What we need to do is start to create a level of awareness around those beliefs and ideas and say, okay, well, like, what are my beliefs around money? Are they productive towards like what I actually want? And if you haven't got what you want, then the answer is going to be no. So then the second question becomes, how do I now reprogram my mind in order to create these ideas, these values and these beliefs that are going to lead me towards what I do want? And the answer is we set a goal and then we focus on that goal. And through going through this program and through these processes, like your subconscious mind has no ability to, it's completely deductive. And by that I mean that it accepts everything that is impressed upon it. So when we understand how we can actually impress this information into the subconscious mind, at a certain point it's gonna become accepted as the status quo, as the norm. And when that happens, that's going to become you. It becomes a part of you and you start acting in that way, you start thinking in that way, you start moving in that direction, and piece by piece your life starts to take on that shape. It starts to like reflect that belief, because that's what happens is your life right now is a reflection of your beliefs. My life is a reflection of my beliefs, and a belief is just a feeling of certainty about what something means. For example, you said about, I sent you that law of forgiveness and you talked about like your daughter having some anger issues with her dad. She has a belief there that's creating that. And that belief has been, it's a belief, it's a feeling that's been created. It's not a truth. That's not how it is in every single relationship between a father and a daughter. That's just one expression or something. When if she used to change that, or if that changes, then what would happen is there will be a new expression in the physical reality, and it will be expressed as a reflection of that belief. So the key is to become aware of what we actually believe about the world, and to start to change that belief. And the world is just an illusion. It's just energy and matter vibrating. That's it. This is what we're going to find out. This is what we're going to learn, and we're going to learn how to work with this. We create that vibration. We can only experience what we're in a vibrational match with, what we're in harmony with. And if we're experiencing pain, if we're experiencing lack and scarcity, if we're experiencing anything that we don't want, It's because we're in vibrational harmony with that. And the trick is to say, okay, well, I don't want this. I'm going to change it. And then we just change it. We take the old idea. It's not about going back into the past and doing battle with your demons. It's about taking a new empowering belief and installing it. And at that point, the old idea becomes obsolete. If you learn how to create a holistic therapy business that makes you $1 million a year, and you install those empowering beliefs that allow you to do that, why would the old belief suddenly come back that it's difficult or it's impossible or it's hard, or that belief just becomes obsolete because it doesn't serve you anymore. It just loses all its power. And the new one is what creates the new model of reality. So this is what we do. We constantly have to, we need to know what we want. And that's what a goal is. A goal is deciding what you want. And my goal is to create like a 7-figure laptop, lifestyle, passion, purpose business where I can work anywhere in the world to help people like you. Like we're on an internet connection now. I'm in Oxford in the UK and you're in North Carolina. I could be in Bolivia and you could be in Alaska. It doesn't matter, because my goal was to be able to do this with nothing but a Wi-Fi connection. And because I created that desire, that goal, and I put a plan in place to do it, here I am talking to you. It's starting to manifest. It's becoming a reality in my life, and it's becoming a reality because I wrote it down. I said, what do I want? Why do I want it? How do I start working towards that? And then it starts to become a reflection. Now, here I am, talking to you, helping you, which is exactly a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I decided I wanted to do this. This was like, that was the goal. And now it's a reality, and it's a reality because I wrote it down, I focused on it, I took an objective view of, I said to myself, what are the beliefs that are stopping me from doing this? What do who do I need to become in order to be able to achieve this? What level of confidence do I need to create? Like, what skills do I need to learn? What kind of person do I need to be in order to make this a reality? And then I went to work to do it. I set the goal, I wrote it down, and then I start working through this process that we're going to learn in order to bring it into a physical manifestation. I start creating a harmonious vibration with that reality that I want. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start to get you to move into a harmonious vibrational alignment with what you want, and it'll be step by step, little by little, and as you do it, you'll start to see these things to appear and manifest in your life. You'll start to see different circumstances, different opportunities, different people coming into your experience, and providing that you take action on those opportunities, then you're going to see things start to happen. That's it. The first cause, if we look at like working with the law of cause and effect here, the first cause is the thought. It's creating the mental image, and it's creating the feeling as well. That moves you into a vibration. It's your feelings, that the way that you feel, that creates the vibration in your body, and it's the vibration in your body that's the language that the universe understands. It's like the language of the universe is vibration, and the vibration is feeling. So if you're feeling angry, you're only going to ever experience anger. You can't. The universe is totally indifferent. It doesn't care one way or another. It says, "I will give you what you want. Ask and ye shall receive." So the question is, how do we ask, right? Most people feel angry, for example, or they feel poor, or they feel helpless, and they say, I want empowerment. But the universe doesn't understand.
Excuse me.
It doesn't understand the words "I want empowerment." It doesn't understand "I want to be at peace." "I want to be happy." "I want to be wealthy." What it understands is a vibration. Understands the feeling. So while you pray, while you ask for happiness, but you feel unfulfilled and discontented, or you feel angry, or coming from a place of lack and scarcity, that's your vibration. And all you can get back is an equal and opposite reaction to that vibration. And so you get a reflection of that in your environment, in your experience. And what happens is you look at that and you say, well, I'm totally justified to think like this. My belief is totally justified because, look, how can you argue with that? But what we're looking at, we've got to remember that the first cause is the thought, because the thought creates the feeling creates the vibration, and the vibration creates the reaction. When you start to change the way that you think about things, instead of saying, I don't want this, if you can find a way to feel abundant when you're experiencing lack and scarcity in your life, if you can find a way to experience happiness when you're feeling depressed, if you can find a way to feel peace when you feel anger, when you're feeling angry, then everything will start to change. Because it's all include. It's a total, like, you can't think one thing and say I don't want. If I say I don't want this, what you're really saying is I want it, because you're thinking about it. And this is why, you know, there's ways that we can start to incorporate this into our habitual thinking, because this is the thing, we're thinking creatures. We're thinking all day long, all night long. I bet you any money, I bet you the next year of your income that the last thought you had last night before you went to sleep was the first thought that you woke up with this morning.
Oh, yeah, my mind probably goes more than most. I feel like it does not let me rest most of the time.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's the problem. It doesn't let you rest. Well, you're the master. This is what we have to do. We have to learn to control this. This is going to be the key to your success, is learning to control the mind. So the things that I'm going to teach you and the things that you're going to learn are going to be really, really simple. And anybody is going to be able to understand them on an intellectual level. The difficulty is going to be in putting it to practice. Because
I felt like when I got to work out more and all, and was doing my yoga more, that I did better at being able to slow my mind down and to be able to push those thoughts away. But like here recently, like it's been a couple months now, I just feel like my mind just goes, and it's just sometimes it's like, okay, just stop. You know, I need to be able to sort through everything. And
what's it saying to you? What's it saying to you?
Well, it's just everything that I need to do and where I'm wanting to go. It's just constantly like, you know, in my mind, just playing through everything that needs to be done, everything I need to do, everything I want to do, or when I see stuff, it's just everything. It just goes all the time.
Well, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. You have to become the master of your mind. When you become the master of your mind, you become the master of your world. When you learn to master your thinking, then you're going to be the master of creation. You'll be able to have anything that you want. You'll be able to have any experience that you want. Because your thinking is the first cause. We become what we think about. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Or as a woman thinketh in her heart, so she is.
And that's why I get what you're saying. And it's like, okay, to get to that place is one thing, but to stay in that place, that seems to be a bigger struggle.
Well, that's why we're here, isn't it? That's why I said to you at the beginning, it's like, this isn't 12 weeks and you're done. This is a lifetime of work. What you're going to learn in the next 12 weeks is a process to help you to start to master your own mind. That's what you're going to learn. And then once you've learned it, then you're going to have to do it. It's like the sensei with his student, or the monk with the student, and he says, okay, it's time now. You've been with me for so long. It's time for you to go into the world by yourself. And then the student goes off and he's like, oh man, this, like, it was easy when the other guy was helping me. Now I've got to learn how to go through this process myself. But one of the ways we're going to do this is to have a goal, is to actually have a specific goal and really, really focus on it. You have to learn how to turn your back mentally to the things that you don't want. Anything that you think about, you're going to get. If you're worried about paying a bill that you haven't got money to pay, behold, if you worry about it, it will happen. This is where belief and faith are really important. It's like when you can't see how it's going to happen, to have that belief and that faith that it is going to happen, because it happens by law. Everything that we're talking about here, this is not, this is not a personal development system that somebody's come up with. They've created a model and said, oh well, if you do this, this has come from the most profound teachers in history. Everybody taught this. Jesus taught this. Buddha taught this. Muhammad taught this. Krishna taught this. All of the sages and prophets have taught us this. And even before that, and since then, this information has been passed down to us through stories for millennia and millennia and millennia, and it hasn't changed. What we've got here is a way to actually take that information and put it into a practical system that's going to allow you to master your own mind. And when that happens, then you're going to start to see miracles. And it's just little techniques like, for example, I'll give you an example, like gratitude. Like we talk about, like, one of the most powerful ways for you to improve the quality of your life is through developing the habit of gratitude. And you think, well, why is that? And the answer is because when you're thinking about what you're grateful for, like, we go to the first course. So like when we start looking for what we can be grateful for, what we have now, we start to focus on the good. We start to focus on all that's lovely and of good rapport. So I'm so grateful for you for allowing me to be your coach, to help you to build my business. I'm so grateful for having this house. I'm so grateful for this beautiful day. I'm grateful for my girlfriend downstairs making me a cup of coffee. I'm grateful for waking up this morning and having a roof over my head. I'm grateful that I slept on a nice, comfortable bed with a pillow and a duvet. I'm grateful that I've got technology that allows me to talk to someone across the world. I'm grateful. You can just go on and on and on and on. And we forget all of that and start focusing on what we don't have. We forget all of the good things that we do have, and we focus on all of the things that we don't have and what we don't want. And this is just such a simple mental habit to develop. And what it does is start to develop that habit of right thinking, of focusing on the good rather than the bad, focusing on what we want rather than what we don't want. And when it becomes a habitual pattern of our thinking, what we want to do here over the next 12 weeks is to develop some habitual patterns in the way that you think, so that all of that unsolicited conversation that you've got going on, that you didn't really invite, that's just turned up there, it's moved in, and now you can't get it out your house, starts to slowly but surely get pushed out. And as it gets pushed out, you replace it with nice, clean thinking patterns that actually move you in the right direction. So we've got to get you some goals written down. And I've got some worksheets I've made for you for this, that I want you to do this next week, that I'm going to send to you. And when you're thinking about,
brilliant puppy. Oh, brilliant. Go. Go potty. Go potty. Go potty. Go potty. Come on. Go see mama. Go. No. Stop. You're not playing with my blanket. Hey. So, good morning, Alice. Oh my goodness. Coco. As you can see, the house is waking up.
Hello.
Say hello. This is the guy I'm working with. We were having a conference this morning. Give me a few minutes, okay? And I'll be off the phone here shortly.
I thought you had a dog jumping up on you.
Oh yeah, 2 of them.
So I'm going to get you to write down all the things that you really want. Okay, I've got some exercise sheets for you, and I want you to start thinking about that, not just this week, but like as an ongoing thing. Like when you think of something that you want, to write it down, and I want you to start focusing on not so much what you want, but why you want it. Okay, so we want to get to the emotional driver that's creating the desire. So, for example, my goal is to get a supercar, and it's as good as done. So, I want to have an Audi R8 supercar. I want to get a brand new Audi R8 supercar. That's my goal. And I could say, well, this is just a lump of metal. It's not. It's an inanimate object. There's no, in itself, it has no ability to do anything. So it's, for me, it's like I ask myself, why do I want that? What is it that I think it's going to give me by having that? Because ultimately it's the feeling that we think that we're going to get from having something. Like, why do you want more money? It's not for the money, because the money is just paper. The only thing it's good for is burning. If in and of itself, it's not the money, it's what it represents. And it's the feeling that you think that you're going to get from having it. Whether it's that freedom of feeling, whether it's that freedom of having pressure relief, fulfillment, passion, whatever it is, ultimately that's what's driving the desire. It's not having the material possession, it's what that is going to give you. So I want to get you really thinking about what are the underlying emotions that are driving these desires for you to work towards these goals. And the reason for that is, like I said, because that's really what's important. It's like the way that you're going to feel. Like the car, for example, that'll come and go. I'll have it for a few months and then I'll be bored, and then something else will come along. So it's not. It's like I have to ask myself, why do I want it? What is it that's what am I chasing? What am I really chasing from an emotional standpoint? Because it's the emotion that I want, and then to focus on that emotion, to chasing that emotion, because it's like I said a few minutes ago, it's the emotion and the feeling that is creating the vibration, and the vibration that is giving you your reflection and creating your reality. So in terms of goal achievement, if I start to focus on that as a goal, what I'm actually focusing on is not having it. If I focus on getting it, what I'm actually saying is I don't have it. And then I'm creating that barrier, that wall that makes it very difficult for it to come to me. If I start to understand what is my emotional drivers to go after this, and then I start to focus on bringing that emotion into my life, then the car will follow. The car will materialize out of the emotion. The job will materialize, or the money, or the holidays, or the travel, or the health center, or the yoga retreat, or whatever it is, will materialize out of the emotion appearing in your body, in your mind. When you start to create that emotion, and you start to experience that emotion in advance of what it is that you're materially seeking, then the material possession will follow. If you go after the material possession, it's going to be very difficult for you to achieve it, because vibrationally, what you're saying is, I haven't got it. The feeling that you've got is you haven't got it and you want it. And we don't get what we want, we get what we are. That's the whole key to success, is we get what we are. We have to become what it is that we want from an emotional and a mental standpoint, because this is the first cause. The behavior is a secondary cause, and the material possessions, they come after that. And when we can do that, when we can move into that place that we want to fulfill, when we can create that space and we can create that emotion and we can create that feeling and that experience ahead of actually having it as a physical manifestation, then the physical manifestation will come. It'll have to, because we create the vibration and we create the frequency alignment with the universe, and then it's just gonna, the old reality is just gonna crumble to pieces. Because what will happen is you're here right now, and your vibration alignment is giving you exactly what you're in alignment with. If you raise your vibration, this no longer exists for you. It exists, but it disappears out of your field of awareness. What happens is reality gives you that reflection. If you go a little bit higher, it goes like this. So as we go to lower emotions of like the negative emotions, we go down and it comes down with us. As we go to higher levels of spirituality and emotions and feelings, what happens is we raise it up. And this is what we have to do, is get you to start to be, from an emotional and a mental standpoint, already successful in what it is that you want to achieve. And there's ways and means to do that. And one of them is we're going to write down our goals. We're going to start to uncover the emotional drivers, and we're going to focus on that on a daily basis. So it's really, you should be writing out your goal every day. Every day, once you've made it clear what it is that you want, you've got clear on what it is that you want, you should be getting a journal. Like, the best thing to do is to get a really nice journal. Like, I've got like really nice books all over the place. Like, I can't see a nice like notebook without going and buying it. And then when you get up in the morning, first thing is to write out in the present tense what it is that you want to achieve, because what you're starting to do is to impress that upon the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind has no ability, this is where everything's happening, no ability to reject this idea. It's through repetition, through auto-suggestion, that as a child, it had no ability to reject, because you had no conscious faculty. And it was wide open and everything just went straight in. As you got older, your conscious mind closed that off, and then all this information was then locked in. And then that's been driving your behavior ever since, for the most part. As an adult now, you don't have that same easy access to the subconscious mind as you had as a child, but there is a way to open the door and get inside. And one of the ways to do that is through repetition and through auto-suggestion. So as you get clear on what it is that you want, and as you write it down, if you're writing this down every day, what you're doing is focusing on it. And where focus goes, energy flows. And while you're writing down, like a pen, I don't know where my pen is. If I take a pencil and I start writing, what I'm doing is creating an emotional connection between the words and the action, much more so than if I'm just saying it in my head or if I'm typing it on a keyboard. And the repetition of that over and over and over again starts to create a habit. It starts to create a thought pattern. And what will happen is your mind will start to look for, there's something like 20 million bits of information that could be processed right now for us. The mind can process 20 bits of information. So it's only able to process a fractional, minute amount of what is available to it, which is these frequencies. So what it does is it takes the information that's programmed into the subconscious mind, and it says, okay, I'm going to use this as a reference point to look for information to create your reality. So if that reference point is full of pain, negativity, and all of the things that you don't want, all of this information that's gone in there over your life, then it doesn't know it doesn't know that's not what you want. That's just what it's got to work with, and what it does is it looks for that. That's why you have reoccurring negative relationships. I've had in my own life, like my previous relationships, they all ended for the same reasons. They all followed the same patterns. Is that because it's because that's what we're looking for? We're looking for those types of people. Subconsciously, we're looking for those people. We're looking for those situations. My jobs were all the same. Jobs all went the same way. 6 months, followed the same pattern, ended up getting fired. Why? Because my mind was looking, that was the information that my mind had to work for, and it was looking for those opportunities to make that happen. When we start to become conscious of this, and we start to consciously choose what we want and impress that information, then it's going to change. At a certain point, the dominant of two ideas will be accepted. In the beginning, nothing will happen. You'll write it down and you'll be, this is ridiculous. Day 2, you'll write it down and you'll be thinking, this is ridiculous. It's never going to happen. A couple of months later, you'll start to think, well, maybe. And then it'll slowly but surely, as the idea is absorbed, the seed will start to grow. And at a certain point, it will become the dominant idea. As it becomes the dominant idea, the old idea will just disappear. It will become obsolete. It will just be deactivated. And at that point, your mind is now looking to make this idea your reality, because that's its job, to uphold your reality. It's like, that's how it creates your reality. As you impress that new idea and it starts to grow into a tree or a plant, or whatever it is in your mind, you'll start to see that appear in your life. And that's how it works. And that's what we're going to do over the next 12 weeks, is to get these seeds into your mind, to start you thinking in the right direction, to start you developing productive habitual thought patterns, and to start getting these goals manifesting in your life. That's my goal for you.
Sounds good.
So what I'm going to do quickly is share my screen here with you, and I want to share, hang on a second, let me just because I've got some homework for you that I want you to do every week, so just bear with me here. Where are we? Okay. This one here, okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, just so what I've got here, this is this is just my Google Drive. So I'll give you a link to this. So we've got here, I've got a recording from Bob Proctor, which is like a 30-minute recording, which is him talking about purpose, vision, and goals. Which, if you're in your car, it's like you can download that and put it onto your phone or whatever. Then if you're in your car, it's just good to listen to that. So here we go. So the first thing is to obviously make a list of everything that you want. And that's going to be an ongoing thing. You just want to like write down everything that you want, and then keep adding to that. Select the thing that you want the most from the list that you just created, and then write down 100 reasons why you must achieve this. So that's not going to be easy.
No.
But it's designed to get you into like deeper levels of thinking. Okay, if you say, for example, you want to create a holistic practice, the first 10 reasons are going to be to help people, to make more money, to experience more fulfillment. That's really superficial reasons. As you get further and further down the list, what you're going to find is that deeper emotional drivers are coming, these deeper emotional drivers are coming to the surface. And the goal is to really dig those out. So thinking's the hardest thing in the world. It's the hardest job in the world, and that's why most people don't do it. So you've signed up to this now, so really you've got to do it. So I've left you a few pages for that. And then number 3 is to write a description of this already existing in your life in the present tense and in as much detail as possible. So I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then you're going to write out the fulfillment of this goal in as much detail as possible. And I want you to go into emotional detail as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really important that we do this your mind doesn't know past or future. All it knows is the present. If you say, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm going to create this in the future, what you're saying to yourself is, I haven't got it.
Yeah.
It has to be now. We have to start. Yeah, you have to create it from, you have to create this from an emotional, mental standpoint. You have to become this before you can have it. And that has to happen now. So we have to do that in the present. And then the final exercise for you is to summarize this into a couple of sentences that you can write on the back of a small card and keep in your pocket, starting with, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then you add the date that you intend to achieve the goal. So I've always got in my pocket, I'm going to stop sharing this now. I'm going to send you that over. In my pocket, I've always got my goal written on the back of one of my business cards. All right, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and then I've got the date when I intend to achieve it. And the purpose of that is that you take that out a couple of times a day, or as often as you can, and you look at it and you read it. And what that's going to do is throughout the day, keep your mind focused on this. It's going to keep bringing your mind back to the goal. So in terms of like writing out the big description, that's going to give you the full picture. And then with the 2 or 3 sentences that you can put on a card, you want to be able to summarize that so that it creates that bigger picture in your mind and invokes those feelings in your mind, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that what we're doing is just repeatedly invoking this experience as often as possible throughout the day. Any chance that you get, just take it out and do it. And you can just write it down on a piece of cardboard or on a piece of paper or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just keep it in your handbag, keep it in your pocket, and look at it as often as possible. And in terms of the more detailed description of your goal, you should be writing that out every day. You should be doing that every day, and you should be like, my recommendation would be to get a nice book, book or a journal, and then just every day write it out. Just take 10 or 15 minutes in the morning when you get up to write that out, and to read what you wrote from the previous day, and then to rewrite it, but don't copy it. So write out the goal again, and then just keep rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it. This is really, really critical. It's like, this is going to be a big part of your success or failure. If you're gonna read, like, the job that we've got to do here is to reprogram your mind. This is what we've got to do, is like reprogram you with the information that's going to help you to achieve what you want. And the only way we're going to do that with you as an adult is through repetition. We've got to get, like, having, like, your subconscious mind is 98%, 96 to 98% of your life. Your conscious mind is 2%. That's it. That comes from neuroplasticity research. So, like, your behavior is habitual, almost exclusively habitual, and it's being controlled by this information in the subconscious mind. So if you just write out, if you go and do this exercise and you go, okay, done, and then you put it down and then you leave it, then you've spent your money for nothing. Because what you've done is you put the information into the conscious part of your mind, which is what they did with you at school. They made you read a book, they made you take a test to see if you could remember what you'd written, and if you did well, they said you were intelligent, and if you did poorly, they said that you weren't intelligent. But that information had no impact on your life whatsoever. It wasn't the information that you were putting into your head that was impacting you, it was the beliefs and the patterns underneath that were really driving your experience. So we've got to get into we've got to get into your head at a much deeper level, and the only way you're going to do that at your age is through constant spaced repetition. That's the only way. You've got two ways. You've got an emotional impact. You don't want that, typically negative, and probably you're not in control of it. And the other way is through constant spaced repetition of the idea. This is what I do every single.
Corey, I'm not trying to rush you, but I have a little bit of a female emergency that we're going to have to wrap this up shortly so I can go and take care of.
Okay, well, we're done now anyway, so we're done. So are we good for next week at the same time?
Yes. And you'll be sending me that in the email, right? The goals, so I can start working on that and writing everything down.
I'm sending you all of that, and I've also sent you a copy of You Were Born Rich. So chapter 1 to read of that. And I've also sent you this workbook, which is the workbook that goes with, which is what we're going to be working through as well. So there's quite a lot of stuff there. I'll put it in an email and write it all out for you. Okay?
Okay, I'll have to keep my open for that and working on what I can this week and moving forward with our vision of the goal and
that's it.
Everything else. So.
Okay, and just before you go quickly, what are we doing about the payment? Is the PayPal working for you?
Yeah, I got the invoice on PayPal. You said you set up to where I could do the partial. So the debit card should be here by no later than Tuesday. So as soon as I get that, Corey, I'll go on there and make that payment. It won't be an issue.
Did you get the invoice where I did the partial payment? I sent one with a partial payment. Allows you to make a partial. Okay. Fantastic. See you next week. Go and have a wee.
Yeah, see you next week, Corey. You have a good one.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.